Oh, maybe that worked. If so, that's new. Colt, hello, sir. Let me open the chat as an overlay. That's better. Awesome. I didn't even know that thing had music. It's a countdown that they like automatically, you can pick it. And I didn't know that it had sound until I clicked on it and was like, oh, I just wanted a 1 minute countdown. All right, what do we got? So there you go, Adam. And hello, Max. Hello, Uncle Guns. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. Today's live chat brought to you by First Wave Holsters. It's just lemonade. Gotta stay hydrated, whatnot. So a little bit here, we'll have Andrew join us, but some announcements to make beforehand. So the reason First Wave Holsters is today is a sponsor is because last week after the live chat, I made a trip to First Wave East's headquarters and came back with stuff. And yes, there was the stuff to give away at the muster. They were giving away like 6 holsters, I believe. But I also came back with an oven and a foam press and a vacuum table and a flat press, a buffer, a sander. Well, I already had one of those, but and got my own bandsaw drill press, that kind of stuff, and piles of parts, sheets of Kydex, and I am going to start fabricating some of the shade line myself, not my signature holsters, just the shade line that goes to like brick and mortar stores. And that is because the First Wave West cat, who, I think still currently maybe lives in San Diego, is leaving because the Navy is sending him to Hawaii for some time. And that cut down the amount of holsters they could make. So I went and got some lessons on how to make some basic holsters, and will be helping in the fabrication department. So that is the scoop with that. Since I am a part owner, I am now going to be a part worker as well. And we decided that, I don't know about we, but I offered to build another website and start offering more on like a First Wave Holsters website, and put holsters on it. Whatever the guys say we should be selling, we'll put them on there. So there you go. That is the First Wave Holsters new big announcement. They lost a holster guy and they gained a holster guy. All right. So Crystal, hello. Javier, hello. I see Andrew in the background over here floating around. He's ready to join us shortly. This will be the last live chat prior to the muster, because next Wednesday is day 2 of Dynamic Week. And day 2 is when we're going to do the New Jersey pistol qualification after class. So it'll be a late day, and I won't be back for a live chat. So after the next one will be after the muster, and that is a Wednesday. Sunny will still be here. And I lost Andrew. Says no video feed. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's fixing it up. Sonny will still be here. He's doing a private class after his 2-day pistol class. So if that class gets done in time, maybe we'll zoom that lens out a little bit and we'll do 2 people, and I'll do a live chat with Sonny live here in person. Maybe that'll happen. I haven't asked them yet. So Sonny, if you're hearing this, think about it. Let's see. Max. The instructor holsters are pretty slick, real light. I don't have a video up on mine. So, yes, a video on the holsters. Awesome. Thank you, John. All right, so that is the live chat news. No live chat next week. Following week maybe with Sunny. Got the first wave stuff mentioned. So we might, yes, Colt, we may have a Sunny chat. I do have some questions for at the end. We will get to those at the end of the thing. In the meantime, I got the announcements out of the way. Now I got to go over here, and I think I see Andrew give me the thumbs up. I will click him live. He gave me thumbs up. And I got to get this chat window out of the way, and he will join us in 3, 2, 1. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am well. So what the folks out here in the YouTubes and Facebook's lands may not realize is that this is the first time I've actually spoken with you.
Yeah, good to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too. Couple chats back and forth electronically, but so here's the big question for you. You may get this or you may not get this often, but we had this discussion last weekend at study group, and that is the pronunciation of your last name.
Smersek.
Smersek.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw it, like my mind just saw the letters in my head spelled it completely different, and I said Smrek, like Shrek, but with an M. And then someone said, there's some other letters in there, right? And I was like, oh, that other E does go somewhere. Shit.
Yeah, there's like 9 people my whole life that have ever said it like the way that we pronounce it the first time they read it, but they were all in like one region of Minnesota.
Fair enough. Well, I was not one of them. You'll be glad to know. So for those of you who don't know Andrew, haven't followed him around, he came highly recommended to me by one Jay Gibson. And if Jay says somebody's good people, then they're good people. So then I was like, all right, I got to follow this cat. But for the folks who haven't been doing that, tell us, what do you do? Like, who are you?
So what we do at Combat Art Training is we do training, first off, gunfight oriented training, and then we also have skills classes. There's kind of like 2 different lanes of classes. They're all gunfight oriented, but you have some that are more strictly about fighting, and then we have some that are more about, hey, how do we shoot this gun more accurately, faster, and at greater distances. So you'll see like skills classes are like shorter classes. You almost consider it a clinic. And then the more gunfight oriented are the 2-day-long classes. And then we also do nylon gear. I make it all. I'll just go ahead and ruin my camera angle right now. I got these 3 machines. That one I haven't really started working with yet, but we got these 3 right here. The other room over there is my cutting room. I just moved it into, moved my machines into this room, and I just hired my first employee. But there's several products out right now. Best fanny pack in the world. I think you've seen that already. The flashlight adapter, I heard you liked, and then we just put out 5 new items yesterday. And I'm working on another one, which you guys get to see for the first time right now. This visor cover, medical visor cover, and then I'm working on a smaller one as well. All mil-spec Cordura. Try to use mil-spec materials as much as possible. Try to get American-made materials as much as possible. But there's some of the things like the tri-glide on my sling, that metal one. I cannot get a black metal tri-glide that is U.S. made. So there's some things that I just can't. But for the most part, all American made. And then we will do custom work if people ask for it.
So 5 new products. I saw pictures of a dangler, and I'm a big fan of the dangler in general, the principle of it. I have one on my chest rig and my plate carrier. And I saw shotgun cards, which I think there might be something a little different about your shotgun cards than normal. But before we get back to those, what are the other items that released yesterday?
Damn, I wish I had them all pulled up. So one of them's really simple. It's oh man, got them right here. Yeah. Okay. So
you can tell how much we worked this out ahead of time.
one of the simplest things is 10 of these. It's just a piece of Velcro that's cut 2 by 3 inches, and then it comes with a permanent marker in silver so that you can write gun tools or batteries or whatever, and you can mark all of your gear. The other things we just came out with is a battery book, which I've got one right here. Let's see if I put the zipper pulls on this. But battery book is real simple. It's just something that you can grab, you can organize your stuff with. And on the inside, it's just 2 Velcro walls. Or excuse me, this one's called the Velcro organizer book. The old one was called the battery book, but this is going to be the new one. 2 Velcro walls, and then behind that is a deep pocket. So you can use different organizer cards, which is another item that we just came out with, is 2 different organizer cards. You can use the 3M stick-on Velcro, put that on the backs of your chargers or whatever tools or things that you want in there, and just have a book organized with your stuff. I hate trying to find chargers. It is infuriating to me. It ruins my day. So literally one day when I went to charge some batteries, I went, fuck this. I stopped. I was like, I'm making a thing, and I made the battery book, but it's got a lot of elastic and stuff on it that can all wear out. And also, not everyone carries the same load of batteries, so that's why we're going over to this design now. You can still order a battery book right now if you want one, but I'm going to take it off the site here soon. Then the dangler, which I have the one I made for Max Lozana right here. So the Velcro, you can actually cut this because it's sewn right there, and you can make it shorter if you want for whatever reason. Big front pocket right here that you can put, basically, I'd say the stuff that you want quick access to, maybe even non-medical stuff you would put in that front pocket. And then we're putting number 10 zippers on the main compartment. Oh, sorry. Tourniquet on the bottom with shock cord. Okay.
I like it.
So the access to a tourniquet. But then when you open this guy, it does a pretty good job of, like, you could just not bring the zipper down all the way and it wouldn't open all the way. But if you did have it where you unzipped all the way, you could still put some 550 cord from these 2 points, and you could suspend it so it doesn't flap all the way down. But then when you get to here, Velcro here, Velcro here. Now behind this one that hangs to the front, you have side access. So slide chest seals or an 8-band or something behind those. And then this one here, that's going to be on the top, you have top access. And then a couple pieces of elastic down here. Put whatever you want underneath these 1-inch ones, and then NPAs and decomp needles is what I would generally put in these looped ones right here. So this is basically exactly what I wanted for a dangler. I call it the medical dangler, but I was debating calling it a medic dangler because it is substantially larger than most of the danglers that people are buying, that I see at least. And the way I look at it is, it's like pretty much everyone's going to have a gun and ammo, right? But not a lot of people are going to carry the right medical stuff. And if I were to need medical, I wouldn't want to have just like 1 combat gauze and 1 tourniquet. Like, I figure if I do end up getting hurt, it's probably going to be a lot worse than I was planning on. And I don't want to be improvising with t-shirts and other bullshit. So you can carry a lot in this. I'm going to take apart a couple other bags I got, and I'm going to set it up to show people. But
that's really slick. There's a lot more features in that dangler than I've seen in any other dangler.
Thank you.
I like it. And the battery, the not battery book. At some point here in the next couple of days, I'm going to get one. I'm going to order one of those because.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah. Then let's see. Shotgun card was the other thing. Now, yes, something different on these. It actually came from my buddy Casey. who owns Gunfire Concealment. He makes my holsters. He's trained with me, training attack response, a bunch, like, great dude. Fucking, I've seen him do a great job under Force on Force, but he kept asking me to make these. And he wanted it, well, like, he wanted me to make him shotgun cards because I make gear. But I wanted to make it out of something different. So it's not just the same shotgun card everyone else has. So if you look at the webbing, this is upholstery webbing, right? So this is inside your furniture. Like if you cut out that black stuff underneath your cushions, you may find this, especially with your outdoor furniture. It's a latex with rubber thread, so it grips it just a little bit better. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's basically a bunch of little dots there.
Yep.
And then we put 1.5-inch elastic over the top, but with this latex, there's 2 layers there, so you do have like a little loop here if you wanted to string it onto something. And when I did my shotgun class, actually, I saw students putting another shotgun shell in here, not recommended, but I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't know it could do that. I'm not sure they'll all fit that, but his did. But it forms to the shells just a little bit more.
Yep.
Okay, than you would with, like, say, a scuba webbing. So the thing I've been doing is, we can see, get them all strained out. So all the shells are nice and straight together. Now, if I take this, I'm holding 2 of them right here to get a good grip, but I can't seem to shake them out. So we had these 2 kind of come out after all that. But trying to pull them out, they do come out nice and easy, and putting them back in is pretty nice and easy. So we haven't broken one yet. I'm interested to see what does happen when you break one. You know, we consider these a wear item, so elastic we don't warranty, everything else lifetime warranty. But yeah, I'm interested to see like what the actual failure point on these will be. But yeah, just a different design, and I think is the best one out there.
As it turns out, my favorite shotgun instructor is in the chat, and he did ask if you can make them in bright orange. I don't know what he wants them in bright orange for, and I don't. There's probably a purpose, but I definitely think that Zach has some opinions on current shotgun cards. We've had long discussions about who's suck and who's don't, and you two should be in contact with each other about shotgun cards. And, and chit chat.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make it in orange. I can look, but it's like people have asked for colors, and it's kind of like that's the color that they make that webbing in.
Right, but it's not visible in front of you, there's no need for them to make it in any other color.
Yeah, I took my training ones that I take to the range, and I just spray painted them all bright pink, and that held on pretty well.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask about the shotgun cards. What the flashlight thing that I've been carrying around now for 3 weeks or so. What is it called again?
Flashlight shock cord adapter.
All right, because I just call it the flashlight thing, and you have with the ingenuity of this product, you have semi-forced me to carry this Streamlight over my Surefire for the last 3 weeks, because the Streamlight does not have a lanyard attachment. So I got this in my hands. I was like, oh, this will go perfect on that Streamlight I used to carry years ago. And I wanted to see how your flashlight thing would fail, and it's not. It's just solid as could be. So I've just been continuing to carry the Streamlight. So inadvertently, you've made me carry a not as good light. So this thing is completely ingenious. Like, I don't know how it took you this long to come up with it and nobody else did in the meantime.
Dude, that's kind of like where that's kind of how I feel about some of the things I made that I'm like proud of. I'm like, why doesn't anyone done this? And I don't know. It's my fucking ADD weirdo brain, overthinking simple shit. And, there's been, now when I design something too, I try to step back and make it simpler after I do, because I can overdo it very easily, and then it makes it way too much work, makes it too expensive and whatnot. But basically, you know, I looked at how people were doing it, and they like some guys would just tape, shock cord to it. And I'm like, well, there's got to be some way with Velcro or whatever. And just literally looking at the materials I had, I figured it out. And one of the things that I wanted to be able to do was to put shock cord on my wife's stiletto. And so I was like, okay, this will work. Now, I will say, if you're using this on a stiletto, or if it's like a little loose on your flashlight, put a drop of E6000 glue underneath it, or some double stick tape to make it secure.
Yeah. Well, it seems to fit pretty tight on the Streamlight Pro Tac 2L, but the pocket clip also rides across it the whole way. So I don't know if the clip wasn't pressing down on it, if it might be rotate a little bit, but it seems plenty tight enough. And it's brilliant. I'm going to go with it's brilliant.
Thanks, man.
It's always the little things that I get me excited.
Right.
And that thing, I was like, okay, this guy can make shit. I need to now go look and see what else he makes. And then, plot my order. Crystal shared your website, so that's good. I didn't have to, and I think I pinned it to the top, but I'm not positive if it says it's pinned, but I don't know how anyone watching this gets to the pinned message, but it is in there. And so you have your class stuff and the gear all in the same website, correct?
Yes.
And class-wise, where do you teach at?
At Aries Training Facility in Leesburg, same place that I'm going to take your class at.
I was pretty sure that's where you were at, but for the folks watching, so if you're in Florida, and that's what would you call it? The central northeastern side of Florida?
It's an hour north of Orlando, so it's pretty in the middle.
So nobody in Florida has a reason not to find you there.
Right.
I know there are at least one Floridian besides yourself in the chat. I see two that I know of that have commented. So you guys need to find that link that Crystal shared and poke your head in there, figure out what you want to go take. And now, while I can't say Andrew's classes are tip top because I haven't taken one yet, notice I said yet, Jay says that they're badass. And if Jay says they're badass, you can't get a higher recommendation than that. So
that's like one of the coolest compliments I've ever gotten.
So he sent me a text not too long after he taught a class with you, and just said, you need to check this guy out. And that was the whole text. And I said, copy that. And to me, that was like, when it wasn't just like Jay said, oh yeah, he's a good dude. When I brought you up, he specifically reached out to bring you up, in conversation. So I was like, all right, there's nothing else I can say. So, and I was talking to Max, who I know you talked to a bunch. And unfortunately, with the muster being like days away, maybe if you're free next Augusty and want to make it your way up to Pennsylvania, we'd love to discuss the possibility of having you teach a block of instruction at the muster, maybe get you teaching a class a couple days before or a couple days after. We try to sandwich some of the instructors that come up so they can make some money while they're here. If you're interested in that, we'll put our brains together. We have a year and 2 weeks until that date comes up, so we got some time to work it out. If you're interested, if not, it's pretty far away. I think Max is going to show off some of your stuff at this year's muster, so that's pretty cool.
Max basically texted me the other day, and he was like, hey, can you make stuff for me to go sell? And I was like, all right. So I guess Max is the first official combat training salesman.
Well, I will find out if he does a good job. I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions, like the most nuanced questions, and be like, hey, so, what strength is the thread on this? So you've only got like 10 days to get him up to speed on anything that I might ask him. So
it's overstitched too many times, and it's done with number 70 or 69. It's the same shit thread. Effect thread.
Right on. Max says his answer will be yes, no, and fuck off. So that's fine. That's how everyone answers me, including like the people that live in this house. So the bump bag caught Bob McCracken's eye. So what's the bump bag?
So the bump bag, I have to give credit to Jerry Nuss on this one. And Jerry, if you're watching, I will get you that fanny pack that I promised. I just have sucked at like fulfilling stuff outside of my orders. But bump in the night bag. And when I was taking advanced fighting pistol, Jerry was my instructor, and we were talking about having a piece of gear that you could easily throw on, and it would just give you, you know, like a magazine or two, like a pistol mag, a rifle mag, flashlight, tourniquet, some extra medical. And I'm not sure if it was his idea for the spare cell phone or not, but spare cell phone is one of the things too. So this, and when you order these, you configure it to how you want it. So this one's custom options is a Velcro front face and then lids over the pistol mags. All right. Basically, every inch of this is being used. I have the tourniquet out right now because I was fucking around with something else. But tourniquet goes on the bottom with shock cord, just like that. Pistol mag on the side, and then I put a flashlight on the other side. You can see with the Velcro front face, I just put 3M stick-on adhesive Velcro on the back of this push dagger sheath, and I put that right on there. 2 rifle mags in the back, and if you like, you could also do shotgun cards back there. When I did weigh the shotgun, I just put 2 shotgun cards there and then 3 on the front. Although these ones, yeah, you could fit 3 of these or 7 shot. It's just gonna hang off a little bit more than a 6. And then this front pocket, that's where I got an old cell phone, just charged it up and put it in there. That's just for 911 calls. So that, when you're looking for your phone or it's dead or whatever bullshit, you got another one. And you can buy a $30 phone on Amazon. Hey, guys, I really recommend just get one and put it in your bedroom or wherever your fallback position is. Then, in this main pouch, all the other medical stuff that I would want. And it's a lot of medical. It's mostly medical, really. Now, I think the thing that Jerry was envisioning was a lot smaller than this, and I was thinking of maybe coming out with a bump bag light. Mm-hmm. But this is the one that I wanted, so this is the one we sell. This also is great for a truck gun. If you're doing a truck gun, I would recommend get lids on the pistol mags and the rifle mags. You can also do bungee retention if you'd like. I just prefer lids. Plus, then if for whatever reason you're worried about people seeing the rifle mags on it, I guess the lids are a little bit more inconspicuous.
Right.
But yeah, and also something I was talking about with Jay is like, this is a great way to fucking replenish your actual warfighting kit if need be. But yeah, and then it's just one simple strap. Throw it over, and then I wear mine like this. If I got my rifle, and it's basically kind of works as a diagonal chest rig when I'm wearing it. My wife is carrying it. We don't recommend like purse carry or off body carry, but when she's working with a baby, being like, hey, grab your gun, grab your extra mag, grab your flashlight, grab your medical, grab your, blah, 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 and all this shit. It's a lot simpler to just be like, here's all your stuff in this bag. So, because let's be real, she's worried about making sure the baby has her shit, what she's wearing for her outfit, and getting to the place on time. So, make life simpler. So, she just has a Velcro lined one with a bigger handle for the zipper.
That's really slick. I got to say, most of the time that I see a trainer come up with a gear idea, whether they make it or not, and usually they're not making it because it's not often you find someone who's can build things and is a good trainer. But when they come up with an idea, it's because they've seen a lot of repetitions of other shit not cutting it. And so I always think it's worth a second look when someone says, "Oh, well, this was designed by, fill in the blank, Clint Smith or whatever," and you're like, "Oh, well, if it was Clint's idea, it's got to be pretty good because he's seen a lot of other shit not work." So
Yeah.
I got faith that most of the things I'm going to look at of your things, I'm going to, look at it and go, man, that's fucking genius. And then I'll throw a bunch of praise on you and you'll be like, yeah, stop. You're embarrassing me. But that's what I do. So you'll get used to it.
I appreciate that, man. By the way, that makes me want to ask a question. How do you feel about magwells on pistols, like the ones you screw on?
I had one on a 1911 like 20 years ago. And I didn't notice that it made the gun any easier to reload. I never found that it was difficult to reload. So I guess that kind of clues you in on my opinion of them. I wouldn't put one on just because often they interfere with removing a magazine that's the normal length.
Yes, yeah, that's my thing. I hate them, and it's like most of the time when a student brings one to class and we go to clear double feeds or something, it just becomes a nightmare. I go, "You want to try one with like a normal gun?" And then they're like, "Oh, last time I had a student who brought one for whatever reason. I could reload his pistol fine; it ran fine, but for some reason, putting it in his hands with that magwell on, he couldn't fucking reload it. Give him my gun, he's fine. He's totally good." But like there was just some little thing of not enough, smacking her ass, and it just was not working. So
yeah, I don't. I mean, if you look at a magazine, oh, you know what? I got this cert gun here. Like the top of the magazine is way skinnier than the hole that it goes in. Like it comes with a built-in magwell already, just because you're putting something little and something big. Like my relationship with my ex-wife.
Then I got one more thing here. It's not out yet. I like wanted it to be done already, but we're working on chest rigs. So kind of like how Spirit Systems has like their thing where it's got the Velcro and then you put the elastic inserts in.
Yep.
Shit, baby. Well, anyways, hopefully someone walks by and have them grab me another mag. But I like that system, but I want more mags. And so I made a 6-mag one. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this back Velcro pocket into a number 10 zipper on the top. And then probably have Velcro lying in there. And then we're using 1.5-inch buckles. And people are like, why are you going with that instead of 1-inch? And I'm like, because it's not a placard. Everyone thinks that placards are chest rigs. They're not. Like they can be used as that, but if we're putting more weight on it, I want the 1.5-inch. And I'm like, yeah, if you want armor, I just say attach the stuff to the armor. But this is more something where I'm probably not wearing armor. I could throw it over if I really wanted to, but that's not the intended purpose. And then, of course, the angler will mount to this with Velcro on the back. And then, just.
Uh-oh. I'm not.
The cool thing that I wanted to show you, I guess maybe I can run and grab an AK mag real quick, but we did a different type of
You froze, and I thought we got you unfroze. We can still hear you though, so I was letting you go. All right, so we will let Andrew continue with his technical, I don't want to say difficulties, his troubleshooting, his technical troubleshooting, and I'll keep chitty chatting and I'll make it easy here. All
right.
Oh, I heard his voice. Andy's back and he's moving.
And yeah, so other thing that we're doing with this is I did a different design on the elastic insert. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Jesus.
I hear you. It all looks okay on my end. Oh, there you froze.
All right. Can you hear me?
Now I hear you. I gotta admit, when the camera is still, from what I see, is frozen on your face.
You got me?
It's such a glorious beard. I mean, if we were gonna freeze on a shot, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, you look to be moving and everything now. Well, for a minute. I keep moving my head whenever you freeze.
Anyways. Yeah. Let me exit out of all this.
So my good friend TJ says that the 911 phone is an awesome idea. And Adam Hall is digging the chest rig, so you got some fans coming.
Can you hear me again?
Yep, I've heard you the whole time. It's just the video that keeps glitching out.
Okay. Anyways, made an elastic insert that actually takes AK mags and the tab doesn't get hung up as you're trying to take it out. So when this whole project is finished, you'll see that, and I'm sure you guys will be pretty psyched on being able to use AK mags with elastic inserts. Yeah, it's a different design one where we put webbing in it too.
Definitely digging that. So somebody mentioned earlier,
then
I don't remember who, mentioned that your Instagram.
This is basically a different front face than the dangler.
Mm-hmm.
But the inside of the dangler. What's that?
Nope, there's just some delay between you and me, so keep going.
Okay. Anyways, so the front, you got a tourniquet here, pocket that way, and then a little bit bigger pocket right here for something to cut your seatbelt with, and then 2 pen spots right there. Open it up, and the inside is just the same as the dangler. So side access pocket right here, top access pocket right here, and this straps onto the visor of your car. We have not put this out yet. It's a little bit bigger, so probably would go on the passenger side, depending on like how close this is to your field of view. Mm-hmm. But then over there, right now, I'm working on a prototype for a thinner visor cover that would also be for medical.
Awesome. Most folks, God bless them, they want to be prepared, and they're carrying some medical gear on them, usually like just the tourniquet, but they're carrying stuff on them. They get in their car, and you're like, man, this is your car. You could have a lot of shit. And you ask them, what extra do you got in your car? And they're like, well, just whatever's in my pocket. I'm like, oh, but you have a car. Like, it's big. It'll hold a lot of shit. And sometimes it clicks, and the next thing they're asking.
Here, Gary, I'm gonna back in and see.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So while he's fixing that up, I'll show you guys something here that I've been working on that I took pictures of. So I was fucking around. This is actually I took this picture just to be a thumbnail for a live chat in the future, but I spent today doing some signature reduction on a scope. Whoops, excuse me. It turned out all right. But it was just beside the picture I wanted to show you. So what does a guy do when he gets a bunch of new holster parts? And he's like, oh, I should practice making holsters on all the scrap Kydex that I have. Instead, he drills holes in a pistol and mounts shit to it like this. So what you're looking at is some type of spacer device. I don't know what you would space with that particular device, but I got some of those from the First Wave guys. And I drilled some holes in a 365 grip frame and put a double pass-through post on the back and then screwed that to it. And you take the picture down now, and I'll show you the actual thing. Where's the picture? There it is. So what you end up with is this guy, and then that acts like a giant paddle, like 1911 thumb safeties, you know, the big fat one that you ride while you're shooting it so you can put downward pressure on the gun. So yeah, I took this old fucked up grip frame and screwed one to it, just like for shits and giggles, and it was pretty slick. All right, I see Andrew is back and joined us. So now that I've entertained you for a minute, let's kick him back live again. I see his face. It's moving. The fan's moving.
All right, I got you now.
Awesome.
I keep freezing.
All right. So we're talking gear. I'm way more interested usually in training than gear, but since you had new gear that I hadn't seen yet. On the training side, somebody had mentioned earlier, and I agree with them completely, that your Instagram chock full of nuggets of wisdom. Just, you know, whatever meme size, whatever text you can fit in a 1x1 block that normally would be a meme. It's good stuff. I have not found anything in there that I was like, man, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's talking about. And since it's been, you know, now a couple months I've been tracking you, and that's a long time to go without me going, oh, this guy. So since you're a trainer, what got you into wanting to teach other people? Like what was the catalyst for you saying, all right, I'm going to go host a class and teach people how to, good people to fuck up bad people?
So I was in the Marine Corps. I'm a Marine Corps rifleman. And at that time, the Magpul DVDs started getting popular. And my dad was like, you got to check these out. And I was like, that's gay. I know everything. I don't need to watch that. You know, and that was really me, right? Like, I totally wish I had gone and taken the live tissue class from other people did, because now I'm going to pay someone for it, you know? Yep. Like I missed out on a bunch of opportunities because of that mindset I used to have. And I watched those DVDs and I was like, oh, like, I guess we do a bunch of things pretty retarded compared to how these guys are doing it. They're pretty well skilled. Then my buddy was like, hey, so then I was like a total gear queer. I was like watching what's the best trigger, the best barrel length, best rail, all that. And it hurts me how much time I used to spend watching that. And now it's like I just did a video with Don Edwards and I like was drawing a blank when I was trying to name what optic I had on my pistol, you know? So now I've like totally turned around from that. So anyways, I was very gear oriented from that. Then and this is like 2013, 14, my buddy went, hey, you got to watch James Yeager. And I was like, okay. And I watch it and it totally challenged everything I believed. But that doesn't like make me mad. I'm just like, you know, like I'm very good at keeping my cool with it, something like that. I was like, okay, well, let's see, prove me wrong on the things I think. And the more I watched, the more I was like, oh, okay. And the survival principles, you know, being laid out of mindset, tactics, skills, then gear, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And that simple thing really solidified the way I was saying. There's some things that like took me years to come around to being like, okay, we'll do that. Like, now I rack the AR-15 every time instead of using the bolt release, like
Yep.
stuff like that, new little things like that. But it was like that very much changed the way I was thinking about it. And I had worked at a gun store. I don't know, like almost maybe a year, maybe more. I don't know.
That's
But
rough.
yeah, and I thought it was a good idea, and I got a lot out of it because basically, eventually, well, man, there's a whole long story I'd love to tell about it, but I wasn't in sales, but I ended up doing sales, and I didn't sell people the thing that they wanted. We had no commission. So what I would do is I would tell them the thing they needed, and they'd be like, "Hey, I want this stupid piece of shit," and I'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna tell you, you actually want this, and in fact, you need this. This is why." And I'd say things, being that this statement, wouldn't you agree that? And I get them to agree with me and come to my side. Um, and a big thing I saw was, of course, that I'm one of like 3 people in this giant store that's full of employees who actually carries a gun. I'm like one of the few who has an experience that's relative to actually using guns in a martial sense, not just shooting them.
Yep.
And it was like I was also very much so awakened to the fact that just because they're a cop or military or whatever doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Like you think you're on the same page, but then they tell you something that's you're like, no, it's not like that. Like lots of like New York City cops. It's like, sorry if there's good ones out there, but like I haven't met them. you know, stuff like, on average, all the shootings are only 3 rounds and 3 yards and 3 seconds, so you only really have to be able to hit someone from here to here. I'm like, that's not a good standard. That's really not good. Like, is that what your standard is? And just interacting with people. I had done 2 sales jobs, like door-to-door marketing and Kirby vacuums, just to learn to talk to people because, Marine Corps infantry guys aren't necessarily good at that when they
Yep.
first get out of the military. So, and I was also a training supervisor at UPS to get good at communication. And eventually, there's a guy there, Dwayne Spires. He owns. First he made a bunch of money doing like, I think it's karate camps, some sort of karate type thing
Mhm.
for kids. And now he has a business training camps on how to grow their businesses. And so he was like the first millionaire I met. I had coffee with him. He pulled up in that holy shit vehicle, car, like a Lamborghini or whatever, and answered my questions. But he was the dude that told me, like, man, you're really passionate about this stuff, because I interacted with him. And he's like, you ever think about like starting your own business to this? And I'm like, at that time, I was kind of, in that state where you need permission from someone else to go ahead and start that thing you want to do. So that's what started me on it. So then I went and did the NRA stuff to be able to issue concealed carry permits. Then started training at Tactical Response, Green Line, Dave Harrington, and a bunch of places in Florida and whatnot. And basically been trying to like take as many classes as I can that I can fit in my schedule. Within reason. Now, last year I didn't do it within reason. I really broke myself off during the summer, but yeah, just trying to take the best knowledge and synthesize those nuggets into my classes on what's relevant. Or if they want to learn a thing and I'm like, I'm not the guy for that. That guy is, just be able to point them in that direction. But
Right on.
it's like one of the titles I hate the most is certified instructor, because it's like I know for a fact that fucking last year I took more training classes than the guy who gave you that certification.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I've had people ask me like, so you're an instructor, are you like all the way up to like a NRA? And I was like, what do you mean up to? And that's nobody wants to admit to that. And, yeah, that's the certification I got, and that was so I could get insurance.
Yeah.
The insurance company said you got to be certified. I was like, I've never taught an NRA class. I'm an NRA certified instructor for 15 years. Never taught an NRA class, never cracked open an NRA book. Mike Fiore, who is one of my adjunct instructors, same. He went and got that just so that he could have insurance, so that we could, he could start teaching. I'm with you. Like when someone says they're certified, I'm like, oh, that doesn't bode well for the rest of this conversation.
Yeah, what I want to do is I helped Jay build his site. And by the way, Mike, I'm sorry if I don't give you the info you need. Just like constantly text me. I'm not gonna be mad about that. But I gotta get you that login info for Jay. But I helped Jay make his
not
site.
watching because he's on a cruise. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyways, but I helped Jay make his site. What we did is we just put up like his Look How Awesome I Am book, and we took every certification and put that on his website. I want to just do that for me too. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like I've gotten asked that too. Is like, what are your credentials? And I'm like, which ones are you looking for? You know, because they don't have any idea.
I'm more interested in what you've done as a student for your ability to teach than it is whatever you've done as a teaching certification.
Right.
I'm way more interested in like, what classes have you taken, and not what instructor classes have you taken.
Right. Yeah. It's like one thing I always say is, you know, it's not about what you've done before so much like what are you doing now, you know? Yep. It's like I'm kind of I don't know, I'm not an asshole about it, but I'm kind of a dick about like hating on veteran culture because it annoys the shit out of me. Like, it's like, oh, I was in the, you know, whatever, Marine Corps, Army, you know, I was this, and I went to this school, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, what did you do after that? And like, nothing. Okay, well, like the better training is with the people you pay that want to be there to teach you, with the students that want to be there to learn it, not the 100 people who have to go there because it's their job that don't want to be there, with the instructors that just want to go home and drink, you know? Yep. So, and it's something, it's like the one, I'm calling them mindset memes now, the black ones with the writing. The one I posted like this week was, you know, the more classes you take, the more you realize how much there is out there to learn, you know?
Amen.
And like, I don't know about you, but
the first fighting class I took was fighting pistol in 2004, 3, somewhere in there. And I was like, I was shooting IDPA and USPSA a bunch at that time. So I thought I knew how to shoot, and I shot fine. But after that, I was like, oh, this is definitely where I should be. And at that moment, I was like, and now I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And then I took another class and went, well, I'm not as awesome as I thought I was. And then another one and another one. And here we are decades later. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm any better than the guy who was going to his first class.
Yeah.
People are paying me. Like this is terrible marketing, but it's true. The more you learn, the more you're like, oh, there's a lot more out there. I've barely, you know, taken a sip out of the ocean.
Right. So like one thing for me that some of the classes that I get most excited about are like medical, force on force, or like tactics, like a low light, you know, it doesn't have to be that we shoot a lot, but like when I did low light building clearing with Jerry at Tactical Response, it was like, that was one of the more mentally taxing classes I had taken. Very chill, but it was like, shit, like, you know, I bumped into this thing, you know, and it made so much noise, and I wouldn't have done that normally, but for some reason I did that, or I walked right by the guy that I was trying to find, and it weighs on you a lot. Or I did a room clearing class with Green Line, and, you know, trying to cut all those angles, like to me, like that's like the most exciting stuff now.
Yes, so their level 1 CQB class that you're the poster child for.
Oh yeah.
a bunch of us up here are taking that here in PA next month. I think about a month from now, we're taking that, which fit in real well for me because I decided to prove a point that I was not going to shoot any live fire in 2023 and prove that you could still get a lot of use out of not going and masturbating at the range and still skills. However, as a firearms instructor, that does make it difficult. So I then kind of reneged on that and said I will not shoot more than 1,000 rounds over the course of the year, and that whole 1,000 rounds will only be for work purposes. So that way I could like shoot demos and stuff. Otherwise, I was kind of painting myself into a corner. But the green line class worked out awesome because it's UTM. I'm like, well, that's not live fire, so this is perfect. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then I might actually squeeze in September Orion training group doing at the same location that Green Line is. They're doing a 3-day CQB class where it's 2 days of running like Manus Blackbeards and 1 day of UTM. And I was like, it'll also fit perfectly in there. And more importantly, it's not just going and learning how to press the trigger. You know, I'm like, I can do that okay. And I think it was Gabe Suarez did a video this week, or maybe it was last week, where he said of all the things that matter in a gunfight, the ability to put the sights on the target and keep them there while you press the trigger is about 10% of the importance. I agreed because, and I like a lot of things Gabe says. Some stuff, you know, like most things, I disagree on his love of double action, single action pistols. But when he said, that's 10%, I was like, yeah, like it, but that's what most folks spend 90% of their time practicing. And so I'm a big fan of getting away from that and the other things, whatever those other things are. Like for instance, and Max told me to ask you about your patrolling class. You could go with a rubber gun or an airsoft gun, you know, a sim gun, whatever, and spend a lot of time in the woods and not be very good at walking around the woods with a gun, and it wouldn't cost you any live fire. Which brings up the supposed to ask you about your homestead patrol class. So what's up with that?
So patrolling the homestead, Prepared Patriot asked me to do it, and it's funny because I was like, what are you talking about? It's fucking patrolling simple. It's easy. And why did I say that? Because I don't appreciate something that you haven't done before, right? Because that was my job in the Marine Corps. Now, I didn't get to patrol as much as I wanted, like, you know, in foreign countries, as much time as I spent in them. But like, but it's like, you know, what did we do the whole time we're in California? You know, that's what the fuck we did. What did we do the whole time that we were in Japanistan, which my wife thought was a real country till a year ago. I always said Japanistan. She's like, that next Afghanistan? I'm like, no, baby. It's just Japan. It was funny. But when we were in Okinawa and at Fuji, it's like you patrol everything. It's all you fucking do. You know, whenever we're in the field, that's like you said, you don't need to necessarily shoot to get, you know, good practice, good value out of what you're doing. Like the simply walking around without making noise and doing it with other people and, you know, assessing the terrain and moving through danger areas correctly and using hand and arm signals and all that shit. Like there's a lot of value to that. So the patrolling class, they asked me to do something for like a team tactics type thing. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I don't know. It brought it down to patrolling is what I thought it would be. And so I looked at the way we did in the Marine Corps, you know, which you can find a lot of that stuff in the publication 3TAC 11, infantry tactics. But it's like, okay, however, you got 8 dudes, fucking, we if someone dies, we probably can't fucking carry them back, and no one is going to be able to come to help us. Like, yeah, it would be great if we could have 2 dudes with a truck that we could evac with, you know, but it's like, how likely is that? And, you know, we're all trying to be, you know, prepper minded and setting up this awesome homestead. Well, you're also packing a bunch of supplies, right? Mm-hmm. somebody else is going to want eventually. So how do we secure that area? And also, we might have to go into town. We might have to take someone with a fucked up tooth to our neighbor 3 miles away. That's a dentist. So we got to go from point A to point B eventually. We can't just stay there. And if we do, we still have to make sure that area is secure. So we take that class and we kind of lay out the planning process. Different control elements in planning the patrol, and kind of explain what those are, why they're important. As in like rally points, checkpoints, alternate routes, stuff like that. And we do a lot of whiteboard work, and then we get out there and we practice walking around the woods in a tactical manner. Not making noise, checking the people around you, see if they're throwing hand and arm signals, using hand and arm signals, which people generally aren't good at because you're doing sign language for the first time while you're hot, irritated, tired, thirsty and whatnot. And then if we do take contact, there are some times where if like we didn't have rule of law, there are sometimes you would want to close with and destroy the enemy, but for the most part, we got to break contact and get the fuck out of there. But there's also sometimes where you have to go ahead and assault through, because if you try to run away, you're going to die. So kind of playing around that. That class requires no ammo. But what I do want to do is take all those immediate action drills, so like reaction to contact, and just do those drills out on the instructor range at Aries live fire. And it's just, we're not going to be patrolling around besides like moving 15 yards and then, okay, contact front,
Just doing that portion of the, I'm tracking. So since we had mentioned earlier about maybe trying to get you up here to Pennsylvania next year, maybe something that could be done in, say, 4,000 acres of woods on the side of a mountain.
that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's bigger than anything I've worked with.
And so we have that, and there is also a live fire range. It's kind of tucked off to the corner. I wish it was in the middle because that would make it way cooler. But so we could definitely have the ability to do some live fire, and if folks are thinking patrolling because it's cheap on ammo, and like I know the instructors I'm not the only one that teaches at our closest place here, but I don't think anybody is doing anything remotely like a patrolling class. I know I'm not, but I haven't seen anybody else offering anything like that I can recall. So maybe that's something we can look into for getting you up here next year and put some money in your pocket and get some folks up here exposed to your training methods.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Adam Hall says you should do it in Tennessee because it's halfway between PA and Florida. What he means is then he wouldn't have to travel.
Well, we actually just put that up on the website. I got to check with Jay to see if he is going to be able to make it to help teach that class as well. But Monday and Tuesday after Self-Reliance Festival at SOE, that is on the schedule. So October, I believe 14th and 15th, but it's the Monday and Tuesday after Self-Reliance Festival.
That's awesome. Yep, look, Max is on there already pimping the same thing you were just talking about. Perfect. All right. Well, we are at the hour point, and so I think that, like, I enjoyed this conversation. So now that we've got the intro conversation out of the way, we should plot to do this again in some amount of time where we can get a little more in-depth and nuanced than there's a couple of topics, because I think there's a few things we could chat about that I think people would appreciate, the not normal internet gun instructors' viewpoints that are all over. We could probably do something pretty interesting. But I wanted to do the first one and kind of introduce you to anyone of my normal viewers who might not know who you are and what you do. So since we're at my normal 1 hour point, I have a couple of questions here, and you can give your opinion on them too. I'm going to read them out because I always try to catch the questions at the end. And the two questions that are kind of actually relevant and the other two aren't. Suggested AR maintenance schedule, what springs to change, round count, etc. And I have a spreadsheet that I typed up some years back, and I went and looked at it yesterday just to make sure that I wasn't like none of my opinions have changed. But for the most part, my view on changing shit in an AR is every time you clean it, you should be inspecting for any signs that things need replaced. And if you don't see any signs, before I fucking speak out, I should actually click the fucking link and make sure that I didn't make it clickable apparently. So I won't be looking at it unless like 5,000 rounds is my choice for extractor springs, ejector springs, the buffer and O-ring in the bolt, the little black cap and the O-ring in it, gas rings, and the main action spring. And then 10,000 rounds change the bolt out and 20,000 the barrel. And anytime you change the bolt is when I also change all the fire control group springs. That's my recommendation if you had to have a like hard round count, which would suck for me to do because I don't keep a hard round count on any of my guns once they reach, the first 1,000 or 2,000 rounds. After that, I stop counting. So to me, it's all about looking at it and checking the gas rings with the bolt test. And so that's my answer to that question. And
I think,
yep, go ahead.
I'd recommend if you can, just have two rifles, a training gun, especially pistols, training gun and a fighting gun. Put that fighting gun through like 1,000 rounds to make sure it works. But if you can't do that, you could have two bolt carrier groups for that one gun. Again, put like 1,000 rounds through it or so to make sure it works. And then whenever you clean it, just swap the entire bolt carrier group. $150. And then you do have to worry about the barrel and all that, but you'll probably know when you're reaching that time, or you'll have, bought another gun anyways, and you won't be shooting that one as much. Like realistically,
that's usually what happens with most folks is they're like, "Oh, I haven't shot that gun in 3 years. I don't know what condition it's in."
I'm guilty of
I had
it.
someone ask me once, like, "How do you check the ejector spring in a bolt?" And I said, "Oh, well, I push on it and I compare that to the brand new one I have sitting over here beside the rest of my shit. And if that one feels not as strong as that one, then it's time for that to get swapped out. Rather than a specific round count. Like I have a brand new one, brand new-ish one, and that's my way to check it. And then the other question was thoughts on the prone position. How much time to spend training on it? What would you use, etc. The fellows around here love practicing dropping to prone and shooting. And the fellow who asked says he hasn't done a ton of it himself. My answer is, well, it's super stable. There's no reason not to like it if you're just specifically for shooting. But when it comes to fighting, if there is no cover, it's a pretty good choice. But it's a commitment because getting out of the prone position isn't very fast if you want to be moving. Guys like shooting it a bunch because you're so stable that your group looks good. Like when you go look at the cardboard target, like they're good shots because you're very stable when you're shooting them. That's why they like it. I don't think they necessarily do it on the I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. Like I don't think they're doing that at the range. They're just going prone. They might do it like Travis Haley because they want to look cool, but they're really doing it, I think, to get good groups. What's your take on prone?
Yeah, so prone, if I don't got a bench, that's what I'll use a zero if I can. The other thing to consider is Clint Smith said, a good shooter knows the shots he can make, and then a great shooter knows the shots he can't make. So you can kind of judge okay, at this distance, this size target, moving or not moving, I can't do that standing, I can't do that kneeling, I can do it prone pretty good. So, like in my marksman class and um, practical distance rifleman class, like when we go back, it's like, hey, I need you to put 5-shot, like drop down prone, put 5 shots on that steel. So if you're like, it's that's kind of a judgment call. I got time to get prone, and then I can shoot faster. I can engage more people more accurately. And I think the more time you have as a shooter, the better you are at gauging that. And the other thing is, if you want to make your dry practice a workout, go ahead. Prone is your new burpees. Getting down to prone, building a good position quickly, and then being able to get back up. But any position, you have stability and mobility. You have the max stability pretty much with prone, and at least mobile. But it's just when it calls for it, yeah. So you should be good at it. But I hate kneeling with a rifle left side of cover. If I can at all, I'll never do that. But I'll practice it every now and then.
For me, it's shotguns. I hate using them. I enjoy no part of them, which means it gets more time than it should, because I recognize I'm not good at it, and which is why I don't like it. I think that's the case with most people. Or I don't know which is the cause and which is the effect. Either I'm not good at it because I don't like it, or I don't like it because I'm not good at it. But then I end up working on it more because I'm not good at it. No different than shooting left-handed. Like shooting a pistol left-handed, I think most people that know me, have been around a lot, will tell you, would say, oh, he doesn't shoot any different left-handed than he does right. It is worse. It's just much closer, I think, than the average dude. And it's because I wasn't good at it. So I put all my time. I was doing like 80% of all my live fire was left-handed. And then 20% was two-handed or right-handed. And, but most folks don't do that. Like they don't focus on the thing that they don't like or the thing that they're not good at, which always tend to be the same thing.
Yeah. It's like, I tell my students, I'm like, if you want to be my favorite student, memorize the firearm safety rules exactly the way I teach them, and be able to like have a tourniquet in your hand staged and be able to put it on any limb in under 20 seconds.
Nice. Yeah, people definitely don't practice that. They bought the tourniquet, didn't even open it up, and they're carrying it in their pocket. I give them credit for carrying it in their pocket, but I'd rather they bought 2 and used one a lot. Like I want a student to be able to tell me, when it comes to medical skills, at how many applications the tourniquet broke. Like at what point did they break their tourniquet?
Right. Yeah.
Then I know they've been using it.
One thing I did with a dude who said he didn't need to take classes is I hand him a tourniquet and I told him to put it on. So you can always use that one. It's kind of funny and really embarrassing for them.
And then the guy's like, all right, I need a class, but not from that guy. He's All right. Well, that answers the questions that I got on the Facebook chat. We hit our hour and a few extra minutes. So if you got any parting wisdom, send it out there. And after that, we'll punch out of here.
I don't know. I guess guys, just like take more classes and practice the shit you learn. Take notes while you're there. It's something I was thinking about, trying to come up with one of those mindset memes. Is it's like you have the rest of your life to prepare for your emergency, right? So if that day does come, are you going to be happy with how well you're prepared? Me, I have to work out. I've fucking completely lacked on that. So if I had to do something physical in an emergency right now, I would be pissed at myself that I had not been working out like I should have, like I used to.
Yeah.
But that's a simple thing that you can make the decision to do or not to do.
I like it. All right, Andrew, thanks for checking in with us today. And we'll schedule part 2 of this for some point here, more than a couple weeks out. And look forward to finger banging all the stuff that Max shows us at the muster. And for everybody else out there, this is the last live chat for a couple weeks because of dynamic week in the muster. And so I guess we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Looking forward to training with you.
Thank you, Andrew.